Hey everybody, and welcome back to 6 Minute Salesforce. My name is RJ from System.debug, and today, as I promised in the last video, we're going to go over some of the little details there, and those details are anonymous functions inside of JavaScript. So I promised you guys we would get into it, and so we're going to do it, and it's going to be the same networking test that we've used time and time again over the course of last 3 or 4 episodes. But this time, we're just going to talk briefly about what anonymous functions are, how you use them, why you use them, and basically just give you a general overview of anonymous functions. This way you have an idea of why someone would use them, and you can use them yourself now. So we're going to our networking test, and we're going to, of course, open our network console over here, and we can see that these two things are going to do nothing different at all. So we make a request, we get the response from the Apex remote, and we're still using that Apex remoting or that Visual Force remoting that we were using last time. And again, same thing. So we're going to do that. Same exact call, pretty much same time to come back, everything. So nothing physically different about these guys, right? But one of them is Ajax request to API, and the other one is with anon, and that's just the one that uses the anonymous function. So let's take a look at that and see what that actually looks like in the code here. And as you can see, our old call here that we use inside of here was the perform Apex remoting call, right? And that's this guy. And like we talked about last time, you're doing the remoting call, and then you've got a function that handles your callback. This is your callback function. So it's a function that you've written and you've named it so you can call it by name. And if we wrote another function, let's just imagine we copy paste that, and this is perform call for something else. And this was a different, let's call it 2, perform remote call 2, right? You can handle those two responses the exact same way, and that's why we name functions. And you guys know this. We name functions because we're going to use them later, and we're going to use them repeatedly. So that's why we build functions, and that's why we name them. This idea of anonymous function is completely the opposite. It is an unnamed function. You're not going to be able to target this function again for reuse. So this is kind of like a one-time use function, and after you use it, you're basically, it's gone. You're not going to be able to target it from anything else anymore. So like everything else up in here, these are all named functions. I've got names for all these guys, and I can target them whenever I want in any of my code. I can make this function right here, call this function right here, which I would never do, but because they're essentially the same function, one's with jQuery and one's with vanilla.js. That's beside the point. But I can call those functions. Now, if we look down here at this guy, this is an anonymous function. I can't call that. That guy's just there, and he's handling the thing that comes in as it comes in, and then that's it. It's over and done with there. So this function handles it, does what it needs to do, throws it out after, and then goes on about the whole program goes on about its day without caring at all. And I can't target that guy from anything else. So this function is just, like we said, completely anonymous, unnamed. So as you guys noticed, the two functions performed exactly the same as one another. The perform Apex remoting call versus this guy right here, perform Apex remoting call with a non-func, anonymous function. It's a good band name, a non-func. But it performed exactly the same because it's exactly the same code, just without that reusability plugged into it. So that's when and where we're going to use it. Why we use these is because we don't really need to reuse that code. It might be something that we know we're never going to reuse again, or it might be something that's very simple. Like for instance, maybe I'm just gonna console.dir this guy or console log this guy out, right? Maybe I don't actually want to do anything else with it. Maybe I just want to console log it. It's a very simple function. I could even do this guy in one line. We can take this guy out right here and this one out right here. And we can do this in one line. right? So it makes it look a little bit cleaner, makes it look a little bit more simple. We see the anonymous function hanging out there. We know that nobody else is going to reuse this. Another reason for using anonymous functions is we don't want other people to reuse this code, right? Maybe we want to rethink how we've done something time and time again. We want to wrap our brains around that thing again. This is a little bit more of a personal statement rather than this is why people do it. This is sometimes why I do it. I want to kind of bring myself to think about that problem again and again and again and again and again to see if there's a more generic way to solve it, right? And again, like I said, that's just me. That's not everyone. I don't speak for the whole community in that sense. But anyway, real quick, quick little primer on anonymous functions. I hope you guys understood what the heck I'm talking about because there's no name here, there's no function. It just basically uses the arrow function, takes in those parameters. These are your parameters. Just takes them in, spits them out, does what you want to do. Never call it again. That's it for this episode, and I'll see you guys next time on 6 Minute Salesforce.